East Francia. The Kingdom of the East Franks was formed out of the division of the Carolingian Empire after the death of Emperor Louis the Pious. At the same time as West Francia and Middle Francia, the East-West division gradually hardened into the establishment of separate kingdoms, with East Francia becoming the Kingdom of Germany and West Francia the Kingdom of France. Borders. In August 843, after 3 years of civil war following the death of Louis the Pious on the 20th of June 840, the Treaty of Verdun was signed by his 3 sons and heirs. His namesake, Louis the German, received the eastern portion of mostly Germanic-speaking lands. The contemporary East Frankish Annal Fuldenses describes the kingdom being divided in 3, and Louis acceding to the eastern part. The West Frankish Annal Bettiniani described the extent of Louis' lands. At the assigning of portions, Louis obtained all the land beyond the Rhine River, but on this side of the Rhine also the cities of Speyer, Worms and Mainz with the counties. The Kingdom of West Francia went to Louis' younger half-brother Charles the Bald, and between the realms a Kingdom of Middle Francia, incorporating Italy, was given to their elder brother, the Emperor Louis the, while West and Middle Francia contained the traditional Frankish heartlands. The East consisted mostly of lands only annexed to the Frankish Empire in the 8th century. These included the duchies of Alemannia, Bavaria, Saxony and Thuringia, as well as the northern and eastern marches with the Danes and Slavicis. The contemporary chronicler Regino of Prum wrote that the different people of East Francia, mostly Germanic and Slavic-speaking, could be distinguished from each other by race, customs, language and laws. Terminology. The term Orientalis Francia originally referred to Franconia and Orientales Franci to its inhabitants, the ethnic Franks living east of the Rhine. The use of the term in a more broader sense to refer to the Eastern Kingdom was an innovation of Louis the German's court. Since Eastern Francia could be identified with Old Austrasia, the Frankish heartland, Louis's choice of terminology hints at his ambitions. Under his grandson Arnulf, the terminology was largely dropped and the kingdom, when it was referred to by name, was simply Francia. When it was necessary, as in the Treaty of Bonn with the West Franks, the Eastern qualified appeared. Henry I refers to himself as Rex Francorum Orientalium, King of the East Franks, in the treaty. By the 12th century, the historian Otto of Freising, in using the Carolingian terminology, had to explain that the Eastern Kingdom of the Franks was now called the Kingdom of the Germans. Kingship. The regalia of the Carolingian Empire had been divided by Louis the Pious on his deathbed between his 2 faithful sons, Charles the Bald and Lothair. Louis the German, then in rebellion, received nothing of the crown jewels or liturgical books associated with Carolingian kingship. Thus the symbols and rituals of East Frankish kingship were created from scratch. From an early date, the East Frankish kingdom had a more formalized notion of royal election than West Francia. Around 900, a liturgy for the coronation of a king, called the Early German Ordo, was written for a private audience. It required the coronator to ask the designated prince whether he was willing to defend the church and the people, and then to turn and ask the people whether they were willing to be subject to the prince and obey his laws. The latter then shouted, "Fiat, fiat," an act that later became known as recognition. This is the earliest known coronation ordo with a recognition in it, and it was subsequently incorporated in the influential Pontifical Romano Germanicum. In June 888, King Arnulf convened a council at Mainz. In attendance were the 3 archbishops of the East Frankish kingdom, Wilbert of Cologne, Lietber of Mainz and Ratbod of Trier, and the West Frankish archbishops of Reims and Rouen, along with the bishops of Beauvais and Noyon. According to Walter Ullmann, the presence of the West Franks was on account of the barren ecclesiastical thought of the East, and the council proceeded to adopt West Frankish ideas of royal sacrality and anointing. It was the first phase in the process of assimilation of the two halves of the Carolingian inheritance. In another church council at Tribur in 895, the prelates declared that Arnulf was chosen by God and not by men, and Arnulf in turn swore to defend the church and its privileges from all its enemies. When Arnulf died in 899, his minor son, Louis IV, was crowned but not anointed, and placed under the tutelage of Archbishop Hatto I of Mainz. Louis's coronation was the first in German history. When Louis died in late September 911, Duke Conrad of Franconia was elected to replace him on the 10th of November, and he became the first German king to receive unction. Church. The three basic services monasteries could owe to the sovereign in the Frankish realms were military service, an annual donation of money, a work, and prayers for the royal family and the kingdom. Collectively, these were known by the technical term Servitium Regis. According to the evidence of the Notitia de Servitio Monasteriorum, list of monasteries and the services they owed, drawn up around 817, the burden of military and monetary service was more severe in West Francia than in East Francia. Only 4 monasteries listed as beyond the Rhine owed these services: Lorsch, Schatten, Monze and Tegernsee.